Welcome everyone to ImaginativeVisions.com. This is Movie Talk. Justin here, back with another film review. And today we're going to be talking about Prime Video's original film that's exclusively to their streaming service, The Devil's Mouth. And we gotta talk about this. So let's get into it. This is another shark movie. Does it live up to expectations? Well, let's talk about it. Amazon's Prime Video, The Devil's Mouth, has all the ingredients you would think that will make it a successful survival thriller. It has isolated underwater cave systems, it has sharks that give you limited visibility, it has rising tension, and that shark that's hunting the group of college friends. And unfortunately, the movie wastes much of that potential on predictable scares, frustrating decisions, and characters that are so infuriating and just pisses you off that you are rooting for the antagonists. The story follows five college friends who travel to Thailand for one final adventure before moving on to the next phases of their lives. And what begins as a guided swim through a cave system quickly becomes a fight for survival when the group becomes trapped underwater with an aggressive shark. The cave setting is easily the movie's strongest element. The narrow tunnels, darkness, and lack of clear escape routes will remind you of better films like The Descent, and it does create a natural claustrophobic atmosphere. There are moments when the limited space and underwater photography generate actual real suspense, especially when a shark is nearby, but not completely visible. The film occasionally captures the fear of being trapped somewhere with no room to run or just in this case really kind of swim. And I will say that the tension is constantly weakened by the damn characters. None of them, and I mean none of them, are likable. And most of their personalities are annoying and become annoying quickly. They spend a large portion of the movie arguing, complaining, ignoring warnings, and making decisions that place everyone in greater danger. Instead of feeling like long-time friends desperately trying to survive, they often feel like people who can barely tolerate one another. Max, played by Lana Condor, is especially difficult to support. Her controlling behavior is clearly meant to create conflict within the group, but particularly with her best friend Sarah. But she becomes so frustrating that it's difficult to care about her emotional arc. The film had opportunity to explore friendship changing as two people prepare to go to different stages of their lives of adulthood like normal people. Instead, their relationship is mostly expressed through repeated argument. Kathryn Newton gives the strongest performance as Sarah and comes closest to creating something that you can kind of dip your teeth into of something of some type of sympathy, but she brings vulnerability to the role and handles the more emotional moments well. Even so, Sarah continues accepting behavior that repeatedly endangers the group, which eventually becomes frustrating in its own way. And the supporting characters are not really developed enough to leave much of an impression beyond the basic roles in the story. They're mostly there to argue, panic, or become potential shark victims because the movie gives no little reason to connect with them. I can tolerate any form of acting choice. I can tolerate any form of direction choice. I can't tolerate bad, annoying characters where every single one of them, I just want the shark to just freaking eat them alive. Like just watching these characters was just such a pain and a chore to get through. But speaking of the direction, let's talk a little bit about that and the shark as well. The direction honestly is not bad. I felt that the direction was competent, and I felt the film was more effective with the use of the setting, the narrow cave passages, the darkness, the limited visibility. That really did create that claustrophobic atmosphere. This is the strongest moments of the film. The problem is when the film and the tone becomes inconsistent. The suspense is inconsistent. Director Jeff Wadlow often relies on the frantic movements, sudden appearances, and characters screaming at one another instead of just letting the environment build that fear naturally. There's moments in here where I felt that a scene could have breathed a little bit more with that setting and the cave system, but it becomes a little bit difficult to follow because some sequences felt more confusing than tense. Things would just randomly start happening. And I will say that the third act is the strongest of the whole film, but by then we're in repetition mode because we've seen the same tactics of the frantic movement, sudden appearances, characters screaming, a little bit too much. The shark also is another mixed element here, and when less is more when it comes to things like this. I call it the Jaws method. Less is more. And when this film decided to do less is more, when the shark remains hidden in the water or appears briefly in the distance, those limited glimpses allow the case setting and the characters to fear do most of the work. But once the shark's fully visible, it's kind of hard to ignore the digital effects, and it kind of just really takes you out of it. And sometimes it looks disconnected from the actors and the surrounding water, which honestly weakened the several attacks that happened in this film. And I think what really hurt the film the most is its PG-13 rating. I think it also limited the impact of the sharks encounters. Now, don't get it twisted. I do not need the movie to become this gore fest, but attacks need more creativity, some intensity, and some weight. Instead, many of them happen quickly and leave the little to be desired. And for a film built around deadly bull sharks, and the shark never becomes kind of terrifying, to be honest with you. So to wrap this up, The Devil's Mouth has an effective location, committed cast, and a few moments of genuine underwater tension. However, the film just does not hit the mark due to the poor, predictable storytelling, poor decisions, horrible characterization, and almost entirely unlikable group of characters. Not the actors, the characters in general that the actors are playing are just really unlikable. And honestly, I was just rooting for the shark to please kill all these college kids. So let's go to our popcorn meter, and I'm going to give The Devil's Mouth, Prime Video's Devil's Mouth, a few kernels. It lacks flavor, and there's only a small bit of moments worth noting. So that's going to wrap up our review of The Devil's Mouth. It gets a few kernels. This is Justin from MagicDivisions.com. If you like what we do here, hopefully earn your subscription. So please hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Shameless plug, if you like WWE, if you're a wrestling gamer, check out our original full-blown creative characters, universe mode, UWL. You can hit the link in the description to head over there and check out our debut show for our version of NXT, our next generation of new wrestlers. So check that out. And of course, another shameless plug, my book, Where Light Remains, will be releasing August 5th. So please head over to the link in the description. You can get the pre-order copy of the Kindle, and the print version will be released the same day. Thank you for all your support. Later days.